first NHRA Nationals were held in 1955 at Great Bend, Kansas, but since 1961, the race has found its forever home just outside the city of Indianapolis. Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park, the scene and situs of a drag racing's most compelling, dramatic, and fantastic moments. This is the 70th running of the Toyota NHRA U.S. Nationals, and it is the longest running, most prestigious, highest paying drag race on the planet, with over 900 participants beginning competition on Wednesday as we work our way to Monday eliminations. Welcome everybody inside the Top Eliminator Club here at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. It is a damp Saturday morning, but the wetness is rolling out of town, and it's going to be great for the rest of the weekend. Brian Loans and Tony Pedregon here to bring you early qualifying coverage from these U.S. Nationals. And Tony, my question to you, it's a very long, grueling race with 5 qualifying sessions. Some of the big teams failed to get down the racetrack on Friday night. Does that set them down the wrong path, or do you get a pass because of the 5 sessions?
I think what's really going to be interesting is you're going to see 4 different days of racing. Friday's qualifying started out as a better than 90-degree day. That brought a lot of humidity. Of course, the sun went down, and some of the teams really hit their marks and ran well. But, of course, a little moisture in the weather today, it's going to cool things off, but it's going to be different tomorrow. More mild, and even Monday it's going to be quick and fast. But what's important for the teams is that they build their inventory. They have to come here with a lot.
Tony, this was really the performance this team needed and had been for several races.
And didn't look the strongest in qualifying, coming from the number 8 position. New car, coming up with a different strategy. History repeated itself 2 years in a row for this team. They're changing things up. Seems to be working for them.
And when they're putting these performances together in 2024, they haven't done it early in the season. They've done it when it really counts. We look at how they began, 2 wins and 2 runner-ups. Then they scuffled a bit. 4 first-round losses over the next 7 races, but Brainerd, Minnesota, a round record, of course, of 4-0, and he closed in really on the tailgate of Sean Langdon. He may end up here in 2nd place by the time this race is over. We have Justin Ashley in the pits with Amanda Busick.
Straight off of his win at Brainerd, Justin Ashley picked up his 3rd Wally of the season, and I don't want to bring up bad news of what happened last year, but as you guys get ready for this countdown again, how well positioned the team now?
I think very much so. I mean, we brought out a new car for the first time in Brainerd, and that's an opportunity that we didn't have before for a number of different reasons, but we feel pretty good about it, especially having made as many laps as we did in Brainerd. But at the same time, it's all in the past, and we're focused on the now, focused on the U.S. Nationals, but our preparation started in the off-season for the race season itself, but specifically for the countdown. So just really excited for everybody at Skag Power Equipment. Toyota, Phillips, Cotto, Maxwell's, Lucas Oil, our whole team, they work incredibly hard for this moment right here. So this is really where it gets fun and exciting.
It's Indy.
It's Indy, baby. There's only one. It's the big go.
The lessons learned during a season can lead you to an Indy victory as we look at our drivers that are active that are still seeking their first Indy win. Clay Millican, longest among the list with 15 starts here. 10 starts for Brittany Force. Billy Torrance, who made a final against Doug Collette a few years ago to lose only in a coasting, tire-smoking battle. Ashley has 4 attempts. Hart and Sean Reed. Let's get a look now at some highlights. Qualifying session 1 on Friday evening. Tony, it was humid. Granted, it had cooled off. The contrails come off the wings of Ida Zetterstrom and Lex June's car, 2 former FIA champs.
One of the things the tuner's really key on is the amount of water grains per square inch, and when they're in the triple digits, that means there's a lot of moisture, and the tuners have to work around that. Ida went 380 at 326 miles an hour, and Lex June a 402. It pitched the belt off as it was mixing up some cylinders. The Chevrolet accessory colors this weekend for Brittany Forrest. And Billy Torrance, who we mentioned, is still seeking that first win at Indy, as is Brittany. And the head of flames are up. This was a crucial run for this team. They needed to get off on the right foot, and boy, did they. Yeah, they really did. You can see a lot of the debris coming off, and likely a shredded blower belt. But for this team, under pressure, coming out with such a strong performance.
And how about the legendary drag racing team, Sox and Martin, being honored on the left lane scoreboard here? Antron Brown and Clay Millican. The white-hot header flames on Brown's car with a Summit onboard camera. And the Vancool Tools entry, 375 at 330. Millican landed with an Arby's sponsorship. Pretty cool deal. They got Arby's up and down the side of that hot rod in the mid-pack. Now it's Justin Ashley and Steve Torrance.
Yeah, and I think for Justin Ashley, they're looking to try to follow up that great performance in Brainerd just a couple of weeks ago with a good performance here. And these are a classic case of 2 cars that were just looking for too much clutch application too soon and a loss of traction early in the run.
And it was a tire smoker in the following pair when it was Doug Collette and Sean Langdon. So Brittany Forrest, Antron Brown sitting 10. We look down this list of racers. There are 4 women on this Top Fuel qualifying sheet. If that holds until Monday, it'll be something we've never seen in the world of NHRA drag racing. Amanda spoke to Brittany.
Friday night under the lights here at the U.S. Nationals, and Brittany Force is the #1 qualifier so far to kick off this weekend, and you come in with a lot of pressure on your back when it comes to that countdown. How much relief will that give that?
It's just a great start for us to be able to grab those 4 points, have a killer run down the racetrack. You know, night one accomplished, but we start over again tomorrow. We just need to keep on doing this. One run at a time is our focus for the Chevrolet team. Very proud of David Grubnick, John Collins, all the guys. That's a great start for us, and looking forward to this week. And we, like you said, we have a lot of pressure. We have a lot of work to do. We need to hang in there until the end.
Historically speaking, the Force family rises into pressure situations. The Nitro Funny Car ranks saw Blake Alexander picking up his second career Funny Car victory in Brainerd, Minnesota. Tony, they did it in pretty good fashion, too.
Yeah, it really came in a strong way for this team, starting to qualify very well, very consistent in qualifying, and it just spilled over on Sunday.
That second career Funny Car Wally, his fourth career victory, as he has two in a top field dragster as well. We talk about what Blake Alexander and Jim Head are able to do and what they have done. This is a career best season so far for Blake. A 1 win in 11 starts, the semifinals 4 times, 4 first-round losses, but a round record of 14-10. He currently sits 7th in the pits. Jordan Vandergriff is with Blake Alexander.
Blake Alexander won in Brainerd, and in Brainerd, he told me that this is the best team he's ever been a part of. He's also having the best year he's ever had. Blake, what about this team makes it so special?
Well, all of us seem to get along pretty well. Jim Head's a straw that stirs a drink over here, and he's doing well, you know, cruising through hot conditions, cool conditions, and I think all that kind of makes us, you know, gel together, have a good time, and keep our head down.
Now, you come into Indy in a tricky position in the points. How do you succeed this weekend?
I mean, obviously, you're going to have to throw down on Friday, and to start the weekend, throw down on Monday to continue the weekend. Some of the hotter weather will come into play, too, and you'll have to slow the car down on Saturday, Sunday. So I think everything will just, throughout the whole time we're here, we're going to have to do a lot of different things to succeed just like we did in Brainerd.
One of the things that's been a hallmark of this team is getting a good first run in qualifying. And the battle for 10th position right now includes Blake Alexander, Paul Lee sitting in 10th. Now, Alexander and Lee do not run every race, so if they do not make their way into the top 10, they will not be considered for the countdown and therefore ineligible to win a championship. So the points are important, especially for Lee and Alexander, as we now go into Friday night. Perhaps the run of the race so far belongs to Chris King, who is up next to Bobby Bodie. Chris King, the fireman from Chicago. Hang on tight, baby.
Well, for Bobby Bodie, we always expect a good run, but look at opposite of him. It was Chris King making a career run for himself, but when you watch that car go down the track, you can see that front end, how light it was, and it was off of the ground a couple of times in the course of the run.
He kept the hammer down and the header flames up. Alexis DeJoria wearing the Pandero Premium Tequila Cafe colors this week. And Cruz Pedregon, the snap-on Dodge. If he didn't hit those blocks last race, we might be talking about a different story because this car is fast.
Yeah, it's really starting to string some good, quick, consistent runs together, and this is exactly how this snap-on team wanted to start the weekend.
I mentioned Blake Alexander, Jim Head, and the Prado team. When they make a good, solid first qualifying hit, they tend to have good runs in this Prado Mustang. They were lined up next to the Skag Power Equipment Ford Mustang of Dan Wilkerson, and they picked it right up where they left off in Brainerd.
Very strong, still consistent, still quick, and Jim Head just seems to have found the sweet spot for that car. It just seems to be performing, and they're well into that top 10. However, they cannot rest. They have some tough contenders.
Then it was Jack Beckman on the starting line next to Ron Capps, wearing another incredible throwback look. Of course, Don Perone signed off on this one. Yes, it's the Napa name, but done in the Army font, and his parachute fell out.
It was opposite of Jack Beckman making his second race. That is the car of John Force. That was so good early in the year, but how can you not look and stare at that Napa car?
The Camaro, the Ford, and the Cornwell Quality Tools car left the starting line. We waited for the big number to come up on the scoreboard, and Blake Alexander said not so fast. 392.6. Alexander left a swampy, sweaty Friday night as the #1 qualifier thus far in Nitro Funny Car. Cruz Pedregon just behind him. Then it's Beckman Brock, J.R. Todd, who is sporting a Tom Selleck-esque mustache now. Then it's Bobby Bodie, Alexis DeJoria, and Ron Capps making up quick 8. Dave Richards is currently anchoring the field. Pro Stock is a class that is also fighting these conditions this weekend, and a class that Dallas Glenn has had a solid handle on for the majority of the regular season. Tony, we've seen it before. Glenn had a great 2023 regular season, but the wheels came off of the countdown.
Yeah, they really did, and he's just over the last several races didn't seem to be as strong as he had been the early part of the season, but just in time, Dallas Glenn was able to pull off a win with some pretty strong contenders.
There are facts and there are opinions, and these are the facts regarding Dallas Glenn. First in starts, tied for first in wins. First in finals, runners up, run wins, average points, whole shot wins. Second in leaving first and third in the speed index, which measures full throttle completed runs. Let's catch up with Dallas Glenn.
Your Pro Stock points leader, Dallas Glenn, picked up his third victory on the season in Brainerd. And Dallas, you were a kid that grew up around this sport. What's the significance of Indy?
Indy, there's a reason they call it the Big Go. There's a lot of people here. It's a long, drawn-out weekend. It's hot. It's tricky. Everybody always brings their A game to Indy, and if you don't bring your A game, you're going home early. It doesn't matter what class you're in. But, we went testing earlier this week. Hopefully we brought our good stuff, and we can capitalize on a little bit that we learned and see if we can take it to them this weekend.
The A game at the Big Go, that is the math that you need to have with you to succeed here at Pro Stock. Looking down for the Lucas Oil helicopter, Eric Anders and Aaron Stanfield. Anders won Gainesville. She hasn't been to the winner's circle, but Tony, she's still third in the points, and in theory could still catch Greg Anderson for number 2.
You just go back a couple of weeks. It was Erica looking like she was going to go all the way. It looked like we were going to see the Erica that we've been expecting to surface, and it still continued to show here. Such an important run for these Pro Stock teams, this setup run.
And Stanfield looking sporty as well with his multiple wins this season. Greg Anderson and Dallas Glenn, the summit on board of the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet Camaro. And Anderson jabbed that shifter into high gear next to the Rad Torque System Chevrolet. It is Anderson, 662, 1 and 206. Grabbed the number 1 spot. Dallas Glenn lands 4th in a tightly packed Pro Stock field. Less than 8/100ths of a second separating 1 to 16. And yes, there is a bump spot. And yes, there are cars on the outside. They're going to have to try to club their way in. Greg Anderson is at the top of the heat. He was at the top end with Amanda.
Well, there's nothing like kicking off qualifying here at the U.S. Nationals, and Greg Anderson just logged that number 1 spot here in day 1. As you were coming into the weekend, did you hit expectations on that?
I think I actually overachieved. I didn't expect much on the first run, and it really wasn't that clean a run. So to end up number 1 with all these players out here, it's everybody brings their A game to Indy. We all know that. I love coming here. I love racing this place, and it's weekend. So looking forward to a great weekend. Hopefully, it can shine again this weekend. So looking forward to a great weekend. Off to a great start. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
This is how you get it done. You start on that great fashion that he did on Friday night. Tony, there's no soundtrack to Pro Stock Motorcycle, but maybe it should be the Imperial March from Star Wars, because the Empire seems like it's about to strike back.
Well, if you want to be entertained, you need only watch Matt Smith and the rivalry that has now built up between NHRA. But it's really Matt Smith that seems to be the better machine over the last couple of races, and that is not what we expected over the domination of Vincent Hines and NHRA over the last year and a half.
He's been chipping away at it, and we looked the number 1 qualifier here at Sonoma. He's then called out and beat NHRA in round 1 of the call-out. Then he went on to beat Steve Johnson and Gianna. Nearly every run he made was over 200 miles an hour, and he beat his own teammate, John Hall, in the final round for his first race win, 23. Jordan Vandergriff caught up, was slugging Matt Smith.
It had been almost a year since Matt Smith won a race, but he won in Sonoma. Matt, was that a one-off, or is that a sign of things to come?
I hope it's a sign of things to come, but, we've won this race the last 2 years at Indy, and we're going to try to do a hat trick and get a 3-peat.
How do you get the win here in Indy?
We just got to go run fast, do our job, and be consistent on Monday.
And the march to Monday begins, of course, on Friday with qualifying session 1. Angie Smith on top of a brand new motorcycle from MSR. She used to tell us in her interviews, I got the oldest chassis on the team. Not so fast. She has the newest chassis on the team. And while lined up next to the Trick Tool Suzuki of Chase Van Zandt, she showed us that that's a good-looking bike.
Really improved performance from this machine, right alongside of her husband, Matt Smith. And they've added 15 pounds on this bike, and they don't seem to be relenting much.
That was a beautiful 688 gauge Herrera, the Revzilla Motul. Vance and Hines, Mission Food Suzuki, and the Denso Ironman motorcycle of Matt Smith. That rumbling V-twin engine roaring on the back half of the racetrack. And Smith, not quite as quick as his wife, but it is a 1-2 punch for Angie and Matt Smith. Gage Herrera lands 3rd at 692.9, a couple of hundredths behind Matt Smith, and again in that swampy, humid air. So the Smiths 1 and 2. Gage Herrera, Gianna Evaristo looking very strong. Gadsden, Van Zandt, Chris Bostic, and Hector Rana Jr., the quick 8. Kelly Klotz sitting at 15. There are other motorcycles on the property. We had one motorcycle fail to start. That belonged to John Hall, and we had somebody leave before the tree. We'll find out how that shakes out when we come back. Now let's talk more about Indy, and this is what it looked like in Brainerd. That's right. We'll be back with more from the U.S. Nationals right after this.
It's a big match for the National Women's Soccer League, and only the best will win.
Just birds, Godzilla bankrolls, silly on, yo, I ain't got it all. That means I'm barely home, trailblazers, stay rolling with vengeance. My arts is crafty, dogs, why I stuck with Laffy Taffy, wondering. Get past me, I've been doing this before, now it's dropping nasty.
$5 all-you-can-eat pancakes are back at IHOP for a limited time. Or free with select combo purchase. Only at IHOP.
When it comes to help, nobody assists like Lowe's.
Linda asistencia.
Well, almost nobody.
Get ready to race down the track with Mission Foods. It's a green light for the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, packed with fast action and tasty products. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy-to-make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Trying on glasses using Warby Parker's virtual try-on is so lifelike, so realistic, that you might not even be able to tell what's real from what's virtual. Yep, it's that good. Virtually try on hundreds of styles at warbyparker.com.
To stay on top of my game, I need to keep up my energy.
Cliff Bar is purposely crafted with 10 grams of proteins.
Because the more good you put in, the more great you get out.
Cliff, the most important ingredient is you.
Hey, Mom. Sorry I missed your call. Dave spilled on our new rug, so I was just throwing it in the wash. Gotta love Ruggable. Oh, we made that recipe you told me about. It was really good. Could ate the painting that Dave did last year. Anyway, things are, they're really great. Yeah, they're really great.
Save up to 20% during our Labor Day sale at Ruggable.com.
The Toyota NHRA U.S. Nationals is sponsored by Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty. And by Toyota. Let's go places. There are endless facts about the U.S. Nationals in this great city of Indianapolis, of which we are about 25 minutes outside of. When we talk about Tony Schumacher's 10 wins, we can talk about the 64th time this race being held at this racing facility outside of Indianapolis. Dave Schultz, Bob Glidden, and John Forrest and Ed McCulloch both knotted up with 5 NHRA Nitro Funny Car victories. Let's talk about Play NHRA, the initiative that kicked off during the 2024 season. You can scan this flow code to learn more how you can get involved in playing the odds of NHRA drag racing. Tony, when we talk about the opening odds for the race, we can talk about being able to bet on a number 1 qualifier, being able to bet on a race winner. Any surprises here for you, or does this line up with the way you think?
No, I think the odds makers are doing their homework. You look at Doug Galletti, you have to base it on what he did just a couple of weeks ago, how he performs here in Indianapolis. You also have to factor the weather. When you're betting on the NFL, you factor in whether they're playing in the rain or the snow or in Southern California.
Yeah, the running game's no good in the slop, right? As we now go to the Pro Stock category, look at some qualifying Session 2 highlights. David Quadra and Derek Reese. Reese, a successful diesel mechanic or diesel repair shop owner, has decided to sell the business and go Pro Stock racing. David Quadra is on a pretty good run here, but then he's got to let the smoke out. The smoke at 6607, 207 miles an hour. So my mistake here was that David made a clean run at 6607. His twin brother, on the other hand, as we're going to see, Christian Quadra and the Corral Boots Mustang is opposite Jerry Tucker. Christian gets off the blocks first. All looks well. Tucker is on a nice, smooth, and fast run. And then it's at this point you see that gray smoke, not good.
Yeah, you called on the smoke, and there is the smoke, and that's likely engine damage. However, good performance for Quadra, even better for Jerry Tucker.
Tucker went all the way to the lead spot in the qualifying order until Eric Anders and Greg Anderson rolled up. Anderson let the clutch out. Someone racing on board shows perfect. Gear changes. Eric Anders, the Johnson's Horsepower Garage Melling Performance Machine, goes 6:59.2, but not quick enough. Greg Anderson snagged number 1. So it is the final mission, Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge of the season in Pro Stock, and we kick it off with 4 great drivers. Fernando Quadra Jr. driving the Corral Boots machine for the Quadra Boys team. Mason McGahey, who has come so close this season to getting his first victory and has proven his skills, and now with more horsepower has become a true threat. For Aaron Stanfield, it has been a season of unprecedented success in the Pro Stock ranks. The back-to-back victories, the Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty entrance, and this the points leader, Dallas Glenn, the Rad Torque System Chevrolet Camaro out of KB Titan Motorsports, as we look at our ladder to find out how the two pairs will stack up against each other. This rerun of the Brainerd semifinal will be Dallas and Aaron on one side and Mason and Fernando on the other. And here we have it, Fernando Quadra Jr. and Mason McGahey. Tony, it was Mason who got himself to that final round in Brainerd, Minnesota. As you can see, Richard Freeman speaking to Junior as the McGahey team gets ready to send Mason down the racetrack.
Yeah, Fernando really had the better car going into that matchup. He just encountered problems. It was mostly within the first 60 feet, but we've seen a big improvement in the density altitude based on what they ran in qualifying on Friday night. Improvements overall, rather conditions overall much improved.
Chris McGahey, Mason's dad, looking on. The skies are gray right now, which we're thankful for because they were very wet this morning. We have beaten the rain. Now we'll see who beats who here in this first round as Mason McGahey is trying to stave off Fernando Quadra Jr. A big run for Junior down at the finish line stripe, and his whole shot win from Mason McGahey. Identical elapsed times. He did it to somebody again.
Well, by 0.003 of a second, it was an 0.59 to an 0.62. Now, neither driver was as quick as they would have liked to have been, but, you know, there's a lot on the line in terms of points. There's the bonus money. Sometimes the drivers just get a little too amped up. They get maybe a little too much brake pressure. But that's how close it was at the finish line. Take a look at the total time.
Absolute razor thin down here. We had the reaction time of the ET up 6:67.5 beats a 6:67.8. Welcome to Pro Stock Drag Racing. And now the next pair in the starting line, it is this recurring battle between Dallas Glenn and Aaron Stanfield, which appears to be something that Tony inevitably may end up coming all the way down to the wire. Bruno Massel is on the starting line with more on Dallas Glenn.
Yeah, Dallas fully aware of his opponent in the left lane. Honestly, they race each other, seems like every single weekend. You know, like any true racer, Dallas said, we made a good run yesterday, but we left a little on the table. Never satisfied. He feels that their 63 could turn into a 59 if they get it all. Can you factor in the atmospheric conditions? He said a 59 would be pretty stout, but when you got Aaron in the other lane, you got to push.
You have to push. Rad Torque Systems, DPFPartsDirect.com, as all the drivers now crowded around the screen at the top end. Aaron Stanfield, the Johnson's Horsepower Garage Camaro. The best rivalry among young pro stock competitors we have seen in years. And look at this. 10 light for Dallas Glenn, 24 for Aaron Stanfield. Stanfield makes a run at him, and it's going to be Dallas Glenn on a hole shot. How about that, a 10 and a 24?
Well, this looks like it's going to be a preview of what we can expect on Monday again. And this was a close race a couple of weeks ago in Brainerd, a race that Aaron Stanfield really wanted another shot at having a better reaction time. He improved on what he did. Based on what he did in Brainerd by a couple of hundredths of a second, but it was Dallas Glenn with that jump and earning this win with the slower car.
If you want to be big league in pro stock, this is what you have to do, and this is what Dallas is going to have to do this weekend and for the next 6 races. Every round is going to have to be this good as Stanfield 6:62.5 runs down the racetrack. That's 6:61.9 of total time for Dallas Glenn. Now let's get to Amanda at the top end.
And Mason was up here intently watching that matchup. You have another shot at Dallas Glenn. What changes this time, Mason?
Oh, nothing. It's just going to be another qualifying run, really. And, you know, Dallas, he's tough. I felt like I should have had him in Brainerd. I had him on the tree, but, you know, probably didn't make an adjustment that we should have that day in Brainerd. And we had stayed and tested, and we actually had changed tires. I guess I gave away what we should have changed, but made same light as I did in the final, and had enough to probably beat him there in Brainerd, but you know, we get another shot here in a minute.
Mason McGahey wants another piece of Dallas Glenn, and he is going to get it. Just like Wyatt Earp said, you called down the Thunder Kid, and now you got it.
You looking for a little trouble? You like watching things get broken? Like barriers? Glass ceilings? And records? In this playoff season, we're looking for you.
Join us at Toyota Racing.
Want to decorate your man cave or garage and don't know where to go? Richmond Auctions has everything you're looking for. September 19th to the 21st, Richmond Auctions will be selling the lifetime collection of J. Barcon coolest gas, oil, and automobilia to ever hit the market. Whether you're a first-time collector or seasoned veteran, automobilia to ever hit the market. Whether you're a first-time collector or seasoned veteran, with over 1,000 items being auctioned off, you're guaranteed to find something to take your collection to the next level. Go to bid.richmondauctions.com or download the app and start bidding today. That's bid.richmondauctions.com.
We are always in motion. Getting this, fixing that, arriving to destinations in life and around the globe. Sometimes it's beautiful. Sometimes it's a blur. Because life never stops, you need someone you can trust to go right along with you, no matter where the future leads. Enterprise, for lives and drive.
Hulu Plus Live TV has over 95 channels.
Yes! Tap into that surprise!
Live news, local channels. You got this.
Getting this, fixing that, arriving to destinations in life and around the globe. Sometimes it's beautiful. Sometimes it's a blur. Because life never stops, you need someone you can trust to go right along with you, no matter where the future leads. Enterprise, for lives and drive.
Hulu Plus Live TV has over 95 channels.
Yes! Tap into that surprise!
Live news, local channels. You got this.
Together, all in one plan. Wow!
Sure. This print and those. And engrave that. We print your print on everything so customers can notice you, remember you, and fall in love with you. If you need it, we print it with 25% off for new customers at vistaprint.com.
This season, there are 100 more of you. We have some new twists. Light it up!
The Floor premieres Wednesday, September 25th on Fox.
The NHRA on Fox.
It's coming down to the wire.
Gone like a shot.
You guys bring it on. The NHRA on Fox.
So let's talk a little bit about, of course, the Toyota U.S. Nationals just 1 year ago. We walked off the starting line as the red light came on for the Gametrax Buell on one side of the racetrack, and it was Matt Smith rolling his way down for a big victory in 2023. We talk about the active riders that have won here at the U.S. Nationals. Matt Smith, Antron Brown, Steve Johnson twice, Hank Brana Jr., and John Hall. One of the best moments of his career right now. Hall is certainly looking very strong, as we have seen in the Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. Let's take a look at the highlights here from the second qualifying session. The surf machine of Chris Bostic, the Suzuki. Note the parachute mounted on the wheelie bar. That is Bostic has wanted to add that to his motorcycle and has now. For Mark Emerson, a very nice run for the privateer racer out of Findlay, Ohio. But man, the gray smoke is not good.
And it's never been of a bike or a pro stock area of a bike or a pro stock car, but for the most part, every pro stock rider and team anticipated quicker run of what they saw on Friday.
Richard Gatz in the Revzilla. Motul, Van Zandt Suzuki, and the Trick Tool Suzuki of Chase Van Zandt, a winner already on the season. Van Zandt carried that front tire a long way, a measured long way, goes 691.6, but Gatson was quicker at 6.905 to move to the number 4 position. Gage Herrera, Angie Smith. Smith on a brand new Denso motorcycle, that V-twin engine. We talked about this being a brand new chassis, Tony, and it is working like a charm.
Yeah, it's working for not just Angie, but for Matt, John Hall as well. And right now, you have to let this team eat after the long domination from Vance and Hines.
The 4 riders